Hello and welcome back to TopsWeb. In this video, we'll be discussing settings and the discussion settings within WordPress. So discussions are a mixed bag with me. You can build your community around your post and your blog in general and have feedback coming from your users. Now, the flip side of that is that you get spam. People want to add backlinks in the comments in order to link back to their site and get their backlink count high and increase their rating. So it's a very common practice for spammers to do that. So let's take a look at what the settings are. First, we have the default article settings. Here we can attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the article, and what this does is if you create an article or a post and you have it linking to another WordPress site, it will notify that other WordPress site that you're linking to them. And what this does in turn takes us to the next one, is allow link notifications from other blogs, pingbacks and trackbacks. So if you receive a link from another site, it's kind of good practice to give a link back to them. Again, just like the spammers want to do, they want to increase those links and backlinks in order to get better ranking. You want to do the same thing. This is kind of the white hat way of doing things, the good way of doing things, and that is legitimately linking to someone and them linking to you. Next is allow people to post comments on new articles. This is where people can add comments to your site and to your different articles, and also spammers will attempt to do the same thing. So again, it's a mixed bag. It's the good and the bad. It's the greatest thing about WordPress, and it's also one of the drawbacks, I think. No. You just sort of have to make up your mind about it and maintain it. Also, there are different plugins we can use to help with the spam. But here in these settings, we can also control it to some degree. So the next section we have is other comment settings. The first one is comment author must fill out name and email. So rather than people just anonymously adding to your site, they have to add an email address for them to post to your site, and that helps a bit. Users must be registered and logged in to comment. Now this greatly will reduce the amount of spam that you receive. It also greatly reduces possibly some feedback that you may get. So probably if you're just starting out, ideally would be to leave this unchecked, and as your site kind of moves on and you moderate through the comments and so forth, turn this on, and so that your group and your followers stay with you and don't mind logging in to be a part of that community. In fact, they'll appreciate it that there's no spam on there and less time for their comments to be posted. Next is automatically close comments on articles older than 14 days. Now, here you want to be a little cognizant of your community, and your community being the ones contributing to the discussion on your site. So what you want to do is see how active the site is. Let's say you create a post, and for 3 months people are actively talking about your post and adding comments and so forth, and the next post you do, same thing, 3 months, next one 2 months, next one 4 months, maybe let's not say 4 months, but 3 months. Let's say 3 months is sort of where things start dying off. Then it would be ideal not to have this set to 14 days. You would have set to 90 days. So you kind of got to watch, leave this unchecked watch how it goes and check it later, or never check it at all. It's up to you. But the idea is that once an article starts becoming aged, oftentimes if it's current information, there's sort of an expiration to it. Like, let's say we're talking about as of today being November 3rd, 2011, perhaps we're talking about the iPhone 4S. Well, once the iPhone 5 comes out, really, or iPhone 6, then let's cut off the comments of the 4S. Anything that has iterations to it that you may be posting about that it kind of die off after time, then you want to kind of watch that and set this, because this will greatly reduce spam, because spammers are going to hit any and every post they can. So this is a good way of just cutting it off. Okay, now enable threaded nested comments. 5 levels deep is the default. You can go up to 10. If you're not familiar with nested comments, I've got an example over here on the front end of this particular site where I have added a nested comment to a comment that was made to the actual post up here. So we have the post, we have the comment to the post, and then we have a comment to the comment. And this is like, yeah, I agree, or things like that. And so you can go 5 levels deep on this, as the current setting is, or up to 10. Okay, for our next one, we have break comments into pages with 50 top level comments per page, and the last page displayed by default. So this is pretty nice. We can have up to 50 comments on a particular page. Top level, please keep that in mind, not the nested levels, but the top level comments. And I assume that it would include the nested levels. I've never really had that much discussion on any of my blogs, so I don't even know. But per page it will jump to the last page as the default one to show. So that's pretty nice that you don't have to sift through 300 comments in order to see where the last comment was made. And comments should be displayed with the older comments at the top of each page. Well, you can have it the older ones first, or go from newer to the oldest. So the best way I can tell you to do this is, if you are getting a enormous amount of comments on your site, and let's hope it's not spam comments, but legitimate comments, then I find it would be very useful to go newer to older. In other words, the last comment would be closest to the post that was written. If not, then like most of mine, once I get rid of all the spam and everything, I've probably got 5 or 10 comments per post, and going older to newest gives you a nice view, sorted view of what has occurred. So, and now we have the email that is tied to these comments. So you can have it email you each time somebody posts, and I should say, you can have it email you as a comment is held for moderation. It's all in how you've got it set up. If everything is being moderated, which I recommend, or if you're just having it go straight through, then you wanted to have it email you. I would suggest, in today's times, never let something go straight through, but if you don't have it email you, or you will see an unruly amount of spam on your email account as well. So next we have, before a comment appears, an administrator must approve the comment. This is typically how I suggest that you may do that. And this is so that you can tell choose whether it's spam, whether it's accepted, or deleted or so forth. And next is comment author must have previously approved comment. So what this allows to happen is if somebody has commented on one of your posts and you've approved that commenter saying, yes, I pass them through, it's legitimate, it's not spam, the next time that particular commenter posts to your site or leaves a reply, let's just say that, then it doesn't go through moderation. It just goes right on through without any checks. So you've already kind of done your own filter, and you can let that guy go through. So it's pretty useful on how much moderation time you have. Comment moderation. Okay, here we go. Hold a comment in the queue if it contains 2 or more links. Obviously we can change this to anything we want, and this is a common characteristic of comment spam and a large number of hyperlinks. So what you'll see in a spam site, they'll have 3 or 4 links trying to link to different sites or many pages within a site to get the link juice going to that site. So if you can see that it has 2 links in it, you can just cut it loose and say nope, not happening. And here we can, when a comment contains any of these words in its content name, URL, email, or IP, it will be held in moderation queue. 1 word or IP per line. It will match inside words, so press will match WordPress. Now this is pretty useful, but what it does, keep in mind, it just sends it to moderation. So if you're already moderating every comment, no use filling this out. But if you're letting things pass through and you want certain things to be caught, you can put, let's say, a list of curse words, which I will not type here, but you have a particular IP addresses, you can put the 63.141, and if this is anybody's IP address, I apologize, I'm just making it up. It will send everything from this IP address, no matter what it is, into moderation. And you can also say that, let's say you're getting hit with Viagra spam, so you get it from Viagra plus, Viagra minus, I don't know, Viagra RX, Viagra, but somewhere in the name of the URL it has the word Viagra, so you can just type in that, and I'm not even sure if I'm spelling it right, evidently not, but anything like, say, Viagra.com or ViagraRx.com, all those would get blocked because you have this 1 word sitting right there. Obviously, if you have a tech site, this is irrelevant information. Okay. Now, the best one for avoiding spam is the comment blacklist. When a comment contains any of these words in the content name, URL, email, or IP, it will be marked as spam. It doesn't go through moderation, it just goes straight to spam, and that's it. 1 word or IP per line, it will match inside words, so press will match WordPress. Same as before, if we have part of a word within a URL and we type out that, if we have that word, it will block it completely. So somebody keeps a particular email address, keeps hitting you up, put it in here, and they won't be able to email you. And last but not least, we have avatars. So the default is not to show avatars. You can, or actually I believe it's show avatars and Mystery Man is the default. So you can choose not to show them at all, or show them and only show a particular level. So you can have different, it's sort of like the movie rating system. PG, well, right here it tells you exactly what they are. G is suitable for all audiences. That's kids, anybody sees it, they're not going to be offended. PG, possibly offensive, usually for audience 13 and above. Not sure what that picture would be really in my head. R is intended for adult audiences above 17. So I don't know. X, obviously that's pretty clear what that is. Even more mature than above, so has to be risque, let's just say that. Alright, you get the idea. So G would be only clean, anybody can see these pictures. Now your default avatar, by default Mystery Man is what shows up, and you can, it's just, as you can see, kind of a silhouette, and blank means pretty much no avatar. Gravatar is a service from gravatar.com, gravatar.com, where you can upload a photo and have that used as your avatar on sites that choose to use the Gravatar logo. It's more than just WordPress, by the way, that use this. So there are, I don't know, I'm sure millions of sites out there that use Gravatar. And when you make a comment on their forums, on their on the blog comments, or whatever it may be, you will use your photo that's tied to your email address and what you're posting from. So as you saw, I had went to Gravatar and posted that in for my email address. Hopefully I don't get spammed off of that. And as you can see, it puts my photo next to it. And this was done tonight as I was recording this particular video, or just before. So Denticon, I don't know if you can even see it, but it just does random pixels, and it does it per site, I believe is how this works. Waveattar has got those funny little creatures. Monster ID has little monsters that's generated for each user. Retro has different little characters from old games, I believe is where that comes out of. And so it's just different little characters that your users can kind of get behind, I guess is the easiest thing I can say. And that's all there is to it. You just hit save changes once you're completely done. Anytime you can come back. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that some of these settings, that if you change them later, let's say your posts have been going for a while and you go in and change some of these, then it does not override existing settings on a post. A good example of this is, for instance, a comment author must fill out his name and email address. If someone has already posted to the site and this wasn't a requirement before, that comment does not disappear because you come over here and hit this checkbox later. So just keep that in mind. It's control. Once you've set these settings and let it run, the post itself has settings within it that can override these settings. So after that, if you want to go back and make changes on old posts, you have to go back to those posts and make those changes there. So just something to keep in mind. It's very dynamic at first, but then it becomes static once it's locked in. So that's it. That's discussion settings. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.